Okay, okay, you'll tell us after the shir how it was. So I will start with, we've started just now Sefer Shmois. And besides that, maybe next week I will give a bit of an overview of Sefer Shmois on itself, the structure of Sefer Shmois, which is a fundament of the next three Sforim, which is, by us we call it Vayikro, Bamidbar, and Devorim. And there is a link between Sefer Shmois and Vayikro, Bamidbar, and Devorim also. So this will be for next week. Today I would like to speak about Moshe Rabeinu and his views of how, again, it is based on Manitou, not completely Manitou. And I will show you that actually what Manitou is saying, what Manitou is saying is going very much quite against the Rambam on a few points. And I will discuss it a little bit when it comes to the mitzvah of Bismillah. Why did Sefer Bereshis stop in the middle of a story? As you know, it should be theoretically the best way to stop Sefer Bereshis would be it's just before Sinai. Seras HaDibros would be the ideal place to start Sefer Shmois because Sefer Bereshis is still in the middle. They are still in Mitzrayim. Suddenly we stop the story and then starts the whole story. Why did we stop by Sefer Bereshis and not start by Seras HaDibros? I'm going to repeat that already 10 times, is because it was the time when Yosef and Yehuda, finally two brothers, one the pragmatic brother and one the holy, the religious brother, joined together to form a nation, two kingdoms that are willing to participate in one big story, in one unique story. And this is the first time since the history of the whole Sefer Bereshis where always two brothers could not get along and were fighting and got apart. And that is the beginning of the Jewish nation. And that's why we start with Shmois, because then already the Jewish nation has been formed. Now, the story starts with Moshe Rabeinu already from the beginning. And it is clear that Moshe Rabeinu was destined to become the leader that would take out the Jews from Mitzrayim and then bring them into Eretz Yisrael. First of all, he has a particular personality traits. The Rambam clearly says that although the Rambam in Shmoine Prokim criticizes nearly everybody in the Torah, David HaMelech, Yaakov, Eliyahu, he defines them all kind of mistakes and how do you call it, weaknesses in their personality that they have to work upon it. And on Moshe Rabbeinu, he says he is the perfected person. There's nobody like Moshe Rabbeinu, and there will never be. And so it's interesting that Manitou takes, how do you call it, a bit of, it takes a chance and describes Moshe Rabbeinu also, because everything in the Torah is an evolution of a transformation of a personality. So the whole Torah, besides Yitzhak Avinu, maybe where we don't see, but we always see an evolution. We see that Rome started, didn't know when, came back and became, and then Kodesh Baruch Hu changed his name to prove that he has really changed. And Yaakov also changed his name to Yisrael. We already spoke about that. And he says that the whole Sefer Torah that we see from now, Sefer Shmois till Devorim, is an evolution of Moshe Rabbeinu himself. So Moshe Rabbeinu evolved and transformed from one kind of person to another kind of person. It's quite daring because the Rambam already describes him as a perfection. Now, it could be that the Rambam speaks about the perfection at the end of this journey. Okay, so it could be that Moshe Rabbeinu, and also the question is, what is perfection? Is it? Yeah. We didn't make an Avera, but we are talking about personality traits. There's Averas and doing good and bad, and then you have personality traits, and then you have characteristic traits. And that's why in my little book now, I'm struggling a little bit the difference between character traits and personality. What's the difference between those two? But could be that Moshe Rabbeinu had personality-wise or character-wise, he had the perfection, but personality-wise, that's something which everybody is unique. So you can't speak about the perfect. There's no one personality better than another. Each one has its own love for. Somebody likes art as music, and the other one likes paintings. And there is no good and bad. It's just a difference in personality. But in character traits, maybe there are certain things that. So I don't exactly know on what level does the Rambam go? And in any case, it's not because you cannot you're not allowed to disagree with the Rambam anyway, and especially it's not an halachic issue, it's more of a mashur issue.
Yeah, but the Rambam speaks about not when it's perfect. He's never saying that it's perfect. He's saying because if I'm right, the Rambam says that what a man should go is with another to actually go over your animal part or your what he says the material part.
Yeah.
And he says the only person that didn't succeed but went most it's Moshe Rabeinu.
Yeah.
And that view. And that view is the most perfect thing.
Okay, so it only takes one angle.
No, because you say with the
I have it actually by chance.
You cannot go to the too much if you have too much real physical, if you are too much in your need. So the fact is to work on it, so to a bit less and less. Moshe Rabbeinu was the one that was able to go to the most extreme. It was not perfect, even he was a Gilgul then of I forgot the Navi Taryag. Anyway, he came to Gilgul also, so he didn't finish anyway.
He didn't finish.
And the fact of doing this doesn't mean you cannot make an Avera.
Yeah.
You can make an Avera, but you are to the most. Binyamin didn't make any Avera, but in his perfection, he was less.
It was probably less, must be. Yeah. He passed the Nisyonis, yeah. But he had to work on Avram. We saw already that Avram had to work on himself. He had to change from becoming a Chabadnik to a president of. So he had to change his views, and I think we can say Moshe Rabbeinu also basically, and this is what I would like to speak today. So his personality was he was righteous, he was humble, and he was actively committed. And he also, the advantage that Moshe Rabbeinu had, that he had a very broad vision, a broad outlook, and this comes because he was, of course, he was Jewish, but he was more over even an Egyptian. He was a prince, nearly a paroi, according to some medrash. He was already became a paroi at some part of his life, and but in another, probably in another city, and he was also a Midiani. So he married a Midian, and he lived in Midian, and he tried to absorb their what you call it, their culture, because Midian, this I did know, but Midian are the children of Keturo, which were Bnei Avraham. So he saw in the Midianim, and we will see why. He saw in them how do you calling them? Bringing further the Abrahamistic viewpoint of the world, and so he had a very good international. He was exposed to international cultures, and he went to very good schools and universities to teach him how to lead and geopolitics, and especially international geopolitics, to understand that. So it's clear that he was a very good leader. As in order to be a good leader, you have to be a free man and also a man of the world. So you have to understand what is going on. The idea that to be able to choose Moshe Rabbeinu, to be able to take a Jewish child into the house of Paroi, unfortunately, the killing of Jewish babies into the Nilus, which probably did not happen a lot because the Torah tells them that they saved them. But Moshe Rabbeinu had to go through this process in order to be taken in as the Bas Paroi. But generally, he is what we can call a man of the world. And the reason why he says that, Manitou specifically, and I agree with him that it's possible not to agree. We already said that the Netziv already speaks about that. He criticizes the Homer that don't want to be Zionists because those people are at university. The head of the Zionistic movement were, even from the former Zionistic movement, were scholars and university people. So he claimed that Moshe Rabbeinu was not less than that. But he wants to make a similarity, and we already discussed it with Herzl. I know you're going to jump, and please don't jump yet. Because Herzl wanted to bring back the people, made also bring the people from Europe into Eretz Yisrael, and he was very successful. And why was he successful? Because he initiated an international conference, which the former would not be able to do. He was all into the media coverage. He made sure that there is a lot of journalists. It was in all the newspapers in the world, and he was able to negotiate with world leaders. He even managed to speak to the Pope. And I mean, I don't see that happening from our Rabbonim to go around and make such a thing. So it is not possible by the traditional Jews to do what he did, and he was successful. So doing that is successful. So in order to bring the people out, it's I'm not going to say that's a proof, but there is a certain kind of a correlation between those two. Now, there's a very interesting story, which is that Moshe Rabeinu did not mala, he did not make bris milah to his son when he came out back from Midian to Mitzrayim. And that story has a very strange. Nobody really can explain that story. It's something which is weird. And definitely the Torah wants to teach us something, but in a hidden way. We don't know what it means. Moshe Rabbeinu does not want to mala. First thing that every Jew knew, that the first thing that when a child is born, you do bris milah, even Tzipora, which was not a Jewish, she understood and she did the milah. So what is going on here? What is the idea behind that? And so here I find it very interesting what he says. There is a covenant. Covenant is a bris. So we have the bris ben Habesorim. The bris ben Habesorim is the bris that Hashem made with our forefathers. And the bris ben Habesorim, Hashem said, I will make you a nation because you are tzedakah mishpat. You know how to do the tzedakah mishpat, which I need to call the unification of the values. So you know how to do mercy and justice. And this is something which is unique, and I love you, and you will receive the land. It's very interesting. We already mentioned it a few times. In the Bris ben Habesorim, there is no mention of the Torah at all. And I will give you the Torah. No mention. The Lord said to Abraham, I will give you the land. Where is the Torah? For us, the Torah is the Iker, and the land is just a way how to be able to perform. Hashem should have said to Abraham, and promise you to your children, I will give the Torah. This is a good Jewish text would be, and I will give you, you will receive the Torah from all the nations, you will receive the Torah. It doesn't speak at all about the Torah in the...
Yeah. It is also saying, your house is following the Hashem.
Mm-hmm.
Is that not what we call the Torah later?
Yeah, that's maybe.
You can give justice and be charity, and you are not Jewish at all.
Yeah, there is of course the land without
3 points,
the land without the Torah is not a land. But
Hashem is gives 3 points.
3 points.
You're right. The third point was it's following the
Hashem. It's I agree with you. Yeah, that's Derech Hashem. Now Derech Hashem normally Derech Hashem means chesed.
Saying Hashem, chesed.
Oh, mishpat, yeah. Mishpat is justice, yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, but normally Derech Hashem is volachtu b'drochov. Volachtu b'drochov means ma'urach u'mafat Torah. So it's also about chesed. So, but you're right. It's there is a little hint, but generally it's about the lamb. And then you have a bris that were given on Har Sinai, which is the luchos a bris. It's another bris. So we have 2 brisos here. We have a bris of ovois and a bris Har Sinai, which is the Torah, which are the Taryag mitzvahs, and which are the regulation, if you want, of a society. So this is how we regulate a society. So Moshe Rabbeinu knew that Hashem said to him, you will come to this mountain, and here we will receive the Torah. So he already understood that there is a new bris that is coming. So there was a bris of the ovaries, and now there's going to be a new bris, which is a bris of the Taryag mitzvahs. And then you can ask yourself, and so this is what Manitou says, for Moshe Rabbeinu, the bris of the Torah is kind of replacing the bris of the ovaries. So while you have the bris of the ovaries, which is kind of very, open-ended. You have to be good people, as you have to be loving people, what Abraham and Yitzhak and Yaakov. And this is called the Bris ben Habesorim. And the Bris ben Habesorim will be replaced, he says, by the Bris of Har Sinai, the Taryag mitzvahs. So the Taryag mitzvahs is not just a way on is really like a Bris or Hadosho, like a New Testament kind of. So it is to replace the old Bris of Bein Habesorim. And the Bris of the forefathers, as I explained, which teaches us goodness and care and mercy, but also justice, but in a good balance, is something which was instituted by the Bris Milah. So the Bris Milah is actually the mitzvah that confirms our commitment to be like our forefathers, Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov. So we are committed to that bris. But then the Bris Milah became also a mitzvah of the Taryag. So Bris Milah is not only a mitzvah that we received from Avraham, but it was also given again on Har Sinai. And so the question is, if I know that I will have to be able to be a Mekayim, a mitzvah of Bris Milah, but through Taryag mitzvahs, or it will be because of Avraham Avinu, which one should I perform? Which one should I perform? So I can wait a few months, a few years maybe, but do it on, maybe a few months, and do it as a Jew because of the Taryag mitzvahs, or should I do it as because I am still a grandchild of Avraham? And that is something which the mistake that Moshe Rabeinu did. Moshe Rabeinu, according to Manitou, he thought that since the Taryag mitzvahs is the highest level of the mitzvahs, we should wait and be performed the mitzvah once we have received already the Torah. So we should do it as Jews, okay? Because that's the mitzvah of the Taryag mitzvah. The Rambam is very interesting because here Manitou goes literally 100% against the Rambam. The Rambam says in Hilchas Milah, and he doesn't bring it, so I'm a bit surprised. But the Rambam says that the reason why we are doing in Bris Milah is not because of Avraham, but we are doing the Bris Milah because this was given on Sinai, because of Moshe Rabeinu. So we don't do Bris Milah today because of Avraham, but we're doing it because of Har Sinai. And that's something which is very important for the Rambam, because he repeats it many times. And it is so much important for him that his Talmud sends him a letter and he says, people make fun of you. So he says, why? So you write in a letter, people make fun of you because they say that you are telling them that you have to make the bris because of Moshe Rabeinu, and then we say the brocha la'achnisoi bevrisoi shel Avraham Avinu. So what's going on here? And so they're making fun of you because you're saying that it has nothing to do with Avraham Avinu, it has to do with Moshe Rabeinu. We are bris that we do today is Moshe Rabeinu's bris that you receive on Sinai. It's a Sinai's bris, nothing to do with Avraham. And so the Rambam answers that he gives it a very technocratic answer. So for the Rambam is everything is technocratic, is a technical, the whole Torah is a technical, Cartesian, scientific approach. And he says, if we would have made the mitzvah of the bris from Avraham Avinu, it would only be a mitzvah of Divrei Nevi'im, because Avraham was a Novi. And we would only have it perform the mitzvah of Divrei Nevi'im. The moment it became received on Sinai, it became a Doraisa. And a Doraisa is much higher than a Divrei Nevi'im. And so there are other mitzvahs of Divrei Nevi'im. We have Arovos that we do on Sukkot. We have the mitzvahs of Divrei Nevi'im, maybe Eruvin, and which other one? Shlomo Melech did Eruvin, and Netilas Yadayim. We have other mitzvahs that are Divrei Nevi'im, very important, but they don't have the same level as the Taryag mitzvahs, which are Doraisa. And what we received on Sinai became a Doraisa. And so therefore he explains that he explains very nicely. He says that what I meant was that that we are not performing because of Avraham. Of course, the mitzvah started from Avraham. We still have the element of Avraham in the mitzvah. But when it comes to performance of the mitzvah, the chashivos of the mitzvah, it's not the brisois, the Yud Gimel brisois. They are not even close to the importance that the fact that it is part of the Taryag mitzvahs gives it. So it's true that the bris by Avraham mentions there was a lot of bris. Was the word bris is very important, bris from Avrom, but it's not enough important. If the mitzvah is part of the Taryag, that's 1,000 times more important than the mitzvah that we would have done because of Avrom. So for the Rambam, there is, I could say in a positive way, if I can, an obsessive focus on Har Sinai by the Rambam. Everything that was given on Har Sinai is something which cannot be equaled, and it's something very, very important. And so the Rambam has this viewpoint that we are performing the mitzvah. And so the Moshe Rabeinu, according to Manitou, had this mistake of the Rambam, and he thought that the Torah replaces the mitzvah of the previous generation, the bris of the previous generations. But he says that no. So according to Manitou, the idea was that the Torah mitzvahs are not replacing, but it is complementing. It supplements the mitzvahs that were given already to Abraham, and that's something which he explains that this was the mistake of Moshe Rabbeinu, that he was a fromme. He wanted to do halachically correct. Instead of, if I can wait a few weeks and do it doraisa, or I can do a drabonon, he paskened to himself that he did a doraisa. He preferred to do a doraisa. So he was an halachic London. He understood in the halacha to do it better as a doraisa instead of doing as a divra neviim. And so the Bein showed him, no, it's not a replacement, but it's a supplement. And therefore, Tzipoira saved his life by doing the bris to show him that it's not a replacement, but it is a supplement. It makes it very interesting because it means here, according to that view, that the Taryag mitzvahs are not a new bris, but it is a continuation of the bris Bein Habesorim, and it is only a continuation in the sense that it helps you in performing the bris Bein Habesorim. We always learn that the bris Bein Habesorim is a privilege. So the union of a privilege versus an obligation. When the Rabeinu Shalom said to Avrom Avinu that you will receive the land and land will be, etc., is it a privilege or is it an obligation? Yeah. So when you read in the text, it's not clear. It looks like a privilege. I'm going to give you this land. You see, this land is going to be yours, and you will be. It's like a present that I give you. But you can also read it as an obligation that you have to. This is now going to be your, and you have to take that land. And it's not a privilege, but it's an obligation. It's not in money to what I'm just saying, but this is something which I thought of because Moshe Rabeinu, he understood that at some point, the Bein Shalom, in other words, is not focused on the Taryag mitzvahs as this is the absolute objective of the Torah, but the objective of the Torah is basically to conquer the land and to live in the land. That's the only objective that he has. And his objective of his life was to bring the Klal Yisrael outside of Eretz of Mitzrayim, to bring them into Eretz Yisrael. And by the way, we made the whole detour a little bit in order to receive the Torah, because the Torah will help you in being able to achieve that goal, which is to live as long as possible on the land. And this is what Moshe Rabbeinu says, Leman yirbo yemeichem alu adomo asher nishba Hashem l'avoseichem. So the whole mitzvah is Leman yirbo. It's just to be able to alu adomo. Mitzvahs are only a way for us to live as long as possible in the land. Because the main objective is, according to that viewpoint, is to live in the land of Eretz Yisrael. And so this is the view that Moshe Rabbeinu had to change when he was young, and he thought he understood that law and order is very important. He was a leader, and he studied in the political universities in Mitzrayim, and he understood that what his job will be is somebody that will give the Torah the laws and the structures so that the society can build, etc. But Hashem showed him that what is starting point, the fundament of the Torah is the Bris Bein Habesorim, which is living in the land, developing the land, and being a land, an eternal nation on this particular holy land. And this is something which he had to still make this transformation in understanding, that it is not only the Jewishness that he has to give, but also the fact that he had to bring the Jewish nation into the land. It's very important because Moshe Rabeinu struggled with that. To give the Torah was not a problem. We say Torah Tzivolonu Moshe Moroshe Kilasyan. Moshe gave the Torah, but his second the job which he had foremost was to schlep the Jews from Mitzrayim into Eretz Yisrael, and he struggled. He had the whole Sefer Bereshis. I don't know, when you picture Moshe Rabbeinu, you picture him with a smile and a happy person? No, with somebody which has always frowned and yeah, unbelievable. This person, what he went through, continuously people telling him, I want to go back to Mitzrayim. What are you doing? What do you bring us? After all he's done, continuously, this is a difficult, very difficult approach. And this is something that he had to learn. He explained something very nice, which I find nearly even to be the Ruach HaKodesh, because I don't think nobody says that. But when it comes to the story of hitting of the Tzur and the Sela, Torah explains it, and then the Torah tells you when he hit, when he was told to speak and he was hitting, Hashem said to him, voila, you can't go to Eretz Yisrael. Come on. I mean, there are people make worse affairs, I'm sure. And they went into Eretz Yisrael. What is the big, and everybody is struggling with answering that. But there is something very, very fundamental which he explains. And this is something which I would like to share with you and to see what you think of that. It's Manitou. He says the following. When Klal Yisrael always complained, there were two generations. You had the generations of the ones that came out of Mitzrayim. There were slaves that had to be taught laws and order. This is clear. Slave does not know, does not have any compass or values. This you need to show them. And then there is a new generation after 40 years that was not in Mitzrayim, but that lived with them Hamon and went and went around and were free people. And it's very interesting. When the first generation complained, they always say, let's go back to Mitzrayim. Why? Because in Mitzrayim we had free fish. I don't remember anymore what the Loshen was. So as a dogo means fish. So they're talking about fish. Okay, fish is a lot in Mitzrayim. They remember the fish in Mitzrayim. Sorry? Yeah.
Moshe Rabbeinu was a beer drinker. Not because the Egyptian made the beer, that was because what was
drinkable. Yeah.
So there was a.
Yeah.
Imagine Moshe Rabbeinu was
the second generation. What did they say? ולא מוהליסונו ממצרים להוביוסון המקום הרוע הזה, לא ימוקם זרע ותאנו וגפן ורימון ומים אין לשתות. It's very interesting. So what do they say? Not about fish. They speak about gefen, te'eno, rimoin, umayim in lishtos. What are those three fruits? Those are the three fruits that Eretz Yisrael was nishtabach. So what do they complain? Do they complain they want to go back to Mitzrayim? They want to eat.
They want to stay in the mitzvah.
No, the contrary. ולא מלסום ממצרים, לא ביוסן המקום הרוע הזה, לא ימקום זרע או תאנו וגפן ורימון. Not for, not te'enu, not gefen, not rimon. So what do they say? Get us out already. Bring us to Eretz Yisrael. But Moshe Rabbeinu did not understand that. He heard a complaint to go back to Mitzrayim. That means, in other words, that he was disconnected with the new generation. And that's something very, very strong for Mani to say that, because it's quite daring. But he says he was disconnected with the new generation. The new generation is not a generation that you have to hit. The new generation, they were willing to go to Eretz Yisrael. It's not a problem. The problem was to keep them, you have to talk to them differently, a new generation. And so Hashem said, the first time Hashem said, hit the seller. This is a generation that you have to hit. But the new generation after 40 years, you have to talk to them. You have to listen to them. And this was Moshe Rabbeinu did not do. He had to hit them twice the seller. And this was symbolic of the mistake that Moshe Rabbeinu did. And the Bein said, you cannot enter this generation. You are disconnected from this generation. And we cannot go into Eretz Yisrael, because if you go into Eretz Yisrael, Yeshua will be disturbed. You have to let your Yeshua do his job properly. You cannot interfere with his job, because you have lost the connection that you have with the new generation. I find it very interesting, because he based himself very nicely on, they never said, Nachzor, should we go back? Because they are Zionistic youth. The first generation, they were anti-Zionistic. Leave us alone, bring us back already. We don't want to. As I explained you once, because they said 400 years and you come and you tell us 210 years. I mean, in Sobman, I was saying to be that it's written in our Heilige Sforim, 400 you. And you coming to tell me, kind mir ruhen am Megillich mit, gibt mich suchen, man darf schon herausgehen, mit euch Bein schon mit mir gerät. Was ist mit dem? Soll zurückgehen in seine Universität. So they were doubtful on Moshe Rabeinu and the whole story continuously. But the new generation, they didn't. And so Moshe had to understand that this is a new generation. Yeah.
Do you think they have any idea what is the henna or what is it? They never saw it.
They never saw it.
Is there a go in the desert?
Yeah.
So when we want this, it's like if I say I want the Beis Hamikdash, basically.
Yeah.
I have no clue what
you
it
have no clue what it is.
I read, but I have no clue what it is.
It's
not. I want to go to Eretz Yisrael. It's I speak about something they don't even know what it is. Moshe Rabbeinu knows what is a henna. We know.
Yeah.
But
the new generation, they were always on the mom. They were always closed off in a cocoon.
I want to papaya.
Yeah. But this is Moshe Rabbeinu had to understand that and to actually tell them, talk to them, and say to them, "Calm down. We're going to do it, but we're going to do it based on the Bein will teach us and tell us when we should go in and where." And that's a mistake that he done. Sorry, yeah.
I thought everybody was born in the they wouldn't have anything.
Why is the Torah says that? Yeah. That they probably they had milk and honey they knew. Yeah, maybe that's why. This is only the 2 points, because that they can imagine. But the Einim, maybe they never saw the Einim and Rimoinim in their lives. They only heard about it, and so they want to have it now. It's a very powerful. I don't know about you. Do you like that shot? Or ouais, vas-y.
Souvent, c'est de faire un collage.
Ouais.
Est-ce que ça veut prendre les problèmes de salutation? Et ça, c'était le problème.
Ouais.
C'est un peu facile,
ouais.
C'est joli, c'est sympathique. Ça peut être un peu faux.
Ça peut être faux, ouais.
Moi, j'étais pas au chiot.
Ouais.
Aussi, on parle de quelqu'un qui a vécu il y a 3000 ans, qui avait un chita, que les chrétiens ont essayé de voler, que des choses ont essayé de copier, et qu'aujourd'hui on pense la connaître. Et on essaie de faire un collage dans les générations. Est-ce que c'est bien possible de comprendre un peu ce domaine qui a vécu dans une époque tellement lointaine, tout simplement parce que ça nous arrange de solutionner le problème d'aujourd'hui.
C'est pour ça que je suis d'accord avec toi. I will say it in English for just later on. But it's like what you're saying is that, and this is Manitou, we see it continuously. He's like nearly obsessed with the problems of the relationship between the Haredim and the religious Zionists and the non-religious Zionists also. And he sees that problem in every part of the Torah. In every part of the Chumash, he sees that. And on the other hand, it's when you look in the Torah in this way, there are so many more psukim and so many, the whole story starts to make sense. And it's not a proof that it is the right thing, but it's anyway, it's a nice way of explaining things that could be right. You understand? But it's like it's like when you have a hammer, you see nails everywhere, and it's the same. A little bit you can accuse Manitou of this because he sees in everything. He sees that he sees that in his approach.
It would maybe interesting to look up to see what Habakkuk says on this particular issue of Moshe Rabbeinu, of the Selah.
To see if how, but he would probably do it from a more religious perspective. He would give it. Ouais.
Plus comme les deuils parlent, mais c'est la même chose.
Qu'est-ce que ça veut dire quoi? C'est la même chose.
C'est la même chose. Ça veut dire que Rav parle aussi du sage. Ça, les relations qui n'est pas la relation de Mali, c'est la relation qui ne veulent plus. Ne veulent plus la Bris, les mitzvahs, d'autres. Et il va mettre ça dans le contexte que c'est cette l'arrivée dans cette époque. Il va faire la même chose. Mais pas seulement rapporter parce que
même le Chassam Soif pourrait faire la même chose.
Il va t'amener ça dans le nouveau. Et le sac dans le va t'amener aussi dans les précédentes. Il faut chacun, parce qu'il ne voit pas plus cette situation. Il essaie de prendre un personnage, on ne connaît pas. On ne comprend pas. Mais on le limite à ça, comme ça, tu peux prendre ça, je te ferme le 7.
Ouais, parce que d'après, because according to Manitou is, and like you said, even Rav Kook will do it for his generation, is that the whole Torah he speaks to us, and that's big. On the other hand, if not, then it's only history. So that's a question. How far do you want to go? You need a connection. If the Torah was written for all those generations, if it's Nitzchias, and it was given by Hashem to us, it means that we have to learn something from it. And it's frappant. It's that's just striking that we see today things which we did not see and that we can link back to that story. And so therefore he explains that because we are in Asfalt the Gula, everybody agrees that we are close to the Gula. That is nobody doubts that we are. It's not going to last another 1,000 years till Moshiach will come. Sorry?
260 max.
Yeah, according to some of the Mukobolim, that the world can only exist.
Nobody knows.
No.
Fact is, nobody knows. No. It's tomorrow, and in 2,000 years, we don't know.
We don't know. But the feeling is that we are already seeing things which are. But okay, in previous generation they could also say that. But we believe that we are very, very close, and so the story could be telling to us. Because he does speak that the stories are telling to us, and even Chazal, and he does speak, he does mention it as well. Manitou goes extreme and more philosophical, and he really takes case by case, and every time he sees in this the general halachic view of the Torah and the values and philosophical view of the Torah. And he calls the Bris Habesorim the philosophical view of the Torah, and the Taryag mitzvahs as a supplement, but not as a replacement. We are, he says, Bnei Avrom Yitzchak Yaakov, we have values, and the Taryag mitzvahs are secondary in order to help us in achieving our goal, which is to create a nation. So there's another chiddush which Manitou brings, and this is the following. He says that Moshe Rabeinu, we could say that Moshe Rabeinu did not want to do it, continuously rejected Hashem's offer, because he had a low self-esteem. But he says this is not possible. Moshe Rabeinu did not have a low self-esteem. Anything, he did not have a low self-esteem. He brings him, he kills the Mitzri with his own hand, so interferes. He interferes when two Jews are fighting with each other. He interferes when the daughters of Israel are having trouble. He tells when after the eagle that whoever was busy with the eagle should be killed, and he literally demands killing. So he's really a leader. There is no doubt he does not have a low self-esteem. So what is the pshat? So he thinks that the following. He is a theory is that when Moshe Rabeinu saw the two Jews fighting, and then the Jews said to him, what, you're going to, we know what you did to the Mitzri, what is your... Suddenly he was extremely, extremely disappointed. You have to understand, he sees himself as somebody who tried to save the Jewish nation. He comes to two Jews that are fighting with each other, and they are blaming him. Not only they don't say thank you for doing something, he's the only one that does something. And then not only you don't thank me, you're even complaining and you're telling me to go away here. And so he was extremely disappointed. And so he decided to go away to Midian. And he thinks to himself, if Hashem wants me, because he saw that he has this capacity, maybe he's going to continue and doing the new nation from him. So it's going to be him that the new nation would start off. So he's going to be the new Yankov that has the capacity, the frumkeit and the leadership, and he would be able to join. So he went to Yisroi, which was a coin medium, and this is what I added on, and the Mamleches Kohanim will come from him. So the Mamlucha will be from him. He's a Paroi, and the Kohanim will be the Midyonim, the coin medium Yisroi. And so, and Tzipora was a Ivri, because Tzipora was a Bnei Keturo, so they were also from Neavro. And so the idea here is that he thought that he's going to be the one that is going to bring this new generation, because the Jews in Mitzrayim, they are not, how do you call them, they are corrupt, and it's finished. This is not a nation that Hashem will want to take out and will want to build. And so when Hashem said to him, no, you make a mistake. I still want them. They said, them? Are you sure? Are you sure? And so, because for him again, frumkeit was very important, and they are lacking that. They are lacking discipline. They are lacking all the values that we are having. And so Hashem said, no, you misunderstand. There is a bris. The bris Bein Habesorim is more important than the bris Torah, and that's again the same concept. It says here that I saw something which I thought that you, Moshe, you told me that from Rav Kook, but it's apparently I saw it in one of the things from Manitou, is that the connection, the relationship between Avraham and the land is a connection between a husband and a wife, a father and a son. It's about love, it's about emotion, it's about family. So when there is a love involved in a relationship, then you don't need rules. Rules is not necessary. When the rules, there is some rules, but it's not really necessary. The rules are understood by itself. When there is love between a husband and a wife in the beginning of a marriage, there's no official rules. You leave your cup here, the wife says, okay, I'll put it in the dishwasher. You understand? That's okay. It's okay. When the relationship grows a little bit out, when it gets a little bit, not to say a lot, but there's a little bit, the relationship is troublesome, is not anymore loving as it used to be, then rules become very important. And it's been 3 times already that you left your cup here and there was this cup, the coffee stain, the circle. And why can't you, the dishwasher is here and the cup is here, why can't you put the dishwasher here and the cup in there? So then rules become very important. You're not married yet, and I don't want to frighten you, but it's the job.
I've heard of it.
Spoiler. Yeah. Yeah. So he explains that this is exactly what the relationship that is here is, that the relationship, the Bris Bein Habesorim, is about family, and the family has to turn into a nation, and a nation are rules. In other words, when you're family, the Bris Bein Habesorim is a family relationship. So this is the hybrid that we are. We are a family relationship with the land. We have a family relationship with each other on one hand, so we don't need rules. On the other hand, we have to become, from a family, we have to become a nation. And you can only become a nation if there are rules. And this is the Torah, the Taryag mitzvahs. So the Taryag mitzvahs are very important. This was actually what Moshe Rabeinu had to be taught. We are not creating a nation. The family is still there. And therefore, it's very important. The family is the foundation of the Jewish people. It is not the laws that makes us for Jews, but it is the fact that we are this family relationship, whether it is a husband and a wife, between us and the land, or it is a father and a son. Whatever it is, the family relationship is what is the core of the Jewish nation, but the shell of the Jewish nation, what is around that is the rules. It's just a secondary. And this is again what he explained, the Bris Milah. The Bris Milah is a family. It's a it is an emotional attachment that we're saying. This is the attachment that HaKadosh Baruch Hu showed to Avram that we are continuing doing. Not because of the Sinai. We don't say because Moshe Rabeinu. We are attaching ourselves to the Bris Ben Absum because that's much more important. The family values are much more important than the mitzvahs, than the laws, the rules, and the obligations that we have. And so again here he describes it as the importance of the national aspirations are much more important than the religious aspiration. So in other words, we are people first, and the Torah is the second. That's a very interesting point of view, but it fits with everything that he has said so far.
But it's against the Rambam.
And it's very much against the Rambam. The Rambam is clearly not like that. On the other hand, the Rambam also agrees in his Moreh Nevuchim, that's why the Rambam is a bit contradicting, that the Taryag mitzvahs are only a mean. They are also only secondary. So there, because it's a mean in how to perfect yourself, because the perfection is the end goal, because when you are perfected, the end goal is then you can have Das Hashem. So he also doesn't say that the Taryag mitzvah. So there is a bit of in the Mishnah Torah in Yad HaChazukah, he has a viewpoint which makes the Taryag mitzvah the spitz of everything, but in the Moreh Nevuchim, it's also very soft. The Taryag mitzvah are only a mean to achieve. So you see, the Rambam also struggles a little bit with the.
To work at the book, it's not saying that it's just me. It's saying need them. It's not optional, or you can.
No.
As important, it's top important. But he's saying, like what he said from Shavinu, you have come to this to get out of your physical aspects that brings you to the scene and out of Hashem. You need those mitzvahs to be able to step out of.
Yeah, but you need it, okay, but it's only a mean. It's a mean. It's not a goal. While most of us, we say that Taryag mitzvahs is a goal in itself. It's not the end goal.
I thought for most of the people were doing the mitzvahs in order to be, if you want, I'll go to the Olam Haba. So the goal is the Olam Haba, it's not the mitzvah.
Yeah, but that's even worse. That's even worse. That's already, for me, that's even worse. That's already the other extreme. Yeah, but this is what he describes. So Moshe Rabeinu basically had to understand that the core of our values lies within the Bris Ben Absorim. That is, the Bris Ben Absorim is something which will be unique, which will be forever. And the Taryag mitzvahs are supplements in order for us to be able to achieve a national identity. Because without that, we cannot be a nation. And we are a family that becomes a nation, and so that the other nations could become family. And that's a little bit the idea of Manitou continuously, that in order for the other nations to become back a family, we as a family have to become a nation and to remain the only nation in the world, so that all the other nations could really become families. So that's the viewpoint of Manitou, which he says a lot of time. It's very interesting. He says a little bit. I don't like it so much. It sense that he describes Moshe Rabeinu also like. Speaks about the fact that Moshe Rabeinu does not speak to the people. He has to cover his face. So he's not a people's man. You understand? Aaron is Oyev Sholem. Aaron is really the complement. what? Sorry,
the socializer.
The socializer. He listens. He's not a Moshe Rabbeinu. You come to him for a problem, he will tell you what's the problem, and if halachically correct or not correct. Aaron would say something. Like a smile, you want a coffee. You understand? It's more the Hasidic, what's it called? The Rov of Vishnitz. What's it called? Over here in Antwerp, Jacob, always a smile. Right? And this is really the difference between those two. The Mochte Grunfeld. Yeah. So this is how I imagine a heroine. And Moshe Rabbeinu, I imagine him a stern face. Actually, he's he's not even facing people because he always has this cover. Only when he teaches Torah, he removes it. So he's really the one that teaches the Torah, the halachos, and he has one very goal-oriented to bring us to Eretz Yisrael. It's really like, I won't say obsessed, but he's really has to, the only thing that he has to do is to schlep this nation, these people, never to schlep them, to make them go to Eretz Yisrael. And that's his two goals. And one of them, he succeeded very well, is giving the Torah. And the other one, he did not succeed. He made the dirty job he made. But just before they could come in, Hashem said, no, you will not bring them in. It's going to be Yeshua that will bring them. And the way that Manitou explained it, because he was not aligned, he was not synchronized with the new generation. And that was missing in his approach. It's a very interesting viewpoint. And the fact that the difference between the Bris Bein Habesorim, which is it's a family orientation, versus the Torah, which is a national orientation, society, rules, and these two together are again a duality. And so they are not a duality because the fundaments are family. We are one family, and on top of it, we put the Torah, because to make sure that we can remain as a nation, so that Leman Yirbo Yemechem, so that is the only reason why we have to keep the Torah, says Moshe Rabeinu, at least so that we can live in the land forever. And this is the viewpoints of Manitou, and which, as I explained, you goes against the Rambam, especially when it comes to the mitzvah of Bris Milah. But on the other hand, the Rambam agrees also on another place that the Taryag mitzvahs are not an objective on itself, but it is mean in order to teach us to do a tikkun atzmi. Because Rambam focuses never speaks. No, because it's the Rambam that says, and the Megillas Esther is the one that.
When he brings a story with. Okay, I will check.
Yeah. No. In Taryag, I know. There is no mitzvah of Yishuv Eretz Yisrael. The Ramban says there is a mitzvah of Yishuv and Kibush Eretz Yisrael, even today. So that's the famous Ramban. He says this is a mitzvah of the Rambam for God. So what they explain is that because this is, like we explain now, is very nice, because that's the Yishuv Eretz Yisrael, that's the Bris Bein Habesorim. This we have to, as Avrom, this is something that we are. The Taryag mitzvahs are, once we are in Eretz Yisrael, how to make sure that we are still in Eretz Yisrael. But the whole Bris Bein Habesorim is to go into Eretz Yisrael. And once we are in Eretz Yisrael, how to keep this land forever. This is the role of the Taryag mitzvahs. So in other words, the going in Eretz Yisrael is not a privilege from Bris Bein Habesorim, but it is an obligation. It's Hashem says, you have to go there. And this is also a little bit what Manitou explained. Avrom was forced, Lech Lecho is a nisoyon. The Chazal also say it's a nisoyon. It's like forcing him to go to Eretz Yisrael. So it's like, it's not an option. It's not a present that I give you that you can refuse. You have to. So one of the purpose of life for a Jew can be said is to live in Eretz Yisrael. That's already enough. Just to live in Eretz Yisrael. That is one of the purpose. You will not agree, but it could be seen as one of the purpose according to that view. And the living in Eretz Yisrael, the Taryag mitzvahs are not I have to live in Eretz Yisrael so that I can perform mitzvahs, as we normally say. You ask anybody in Bris Medrash, why? Because like this, I can perform more mitzvahs. Because if I perform more mitzvahs, I will have more schar in olam habo. Because I will have more mitzvahs, right? So it's like, but it's the other way around. I have to live in Eretz Yisrael. And the Taryag mitzvahs helps me in keeping that land with me. But Hashem has one thing from us is you guys should live in Eretz Yisrael and remain there and create a nation so that I can build my Beis Hamikdash, which is my Dira B'Tachtonim, because I want to speak to all humanity, not only you, I want to speak to all humanity, but I will do it through you. So I need you to be there. And that is the real reason, according to that view, is the real reason. And I think it's a more positive view in understanding, I think. When it's points like that, it gives a little bit more of a direction where we are going and why we are here and what's in. Then you can discuss a debate of why are we here. Us, I mean, these people, why are we not in that soil?
It's not.
It's not a mitzvah.
It's not a mitzvah. So
no, so it might be that because it's before. This is the fundament. It's like being a mensch. A human being has to be a mensch. It's also not the mitzvah. And similarly, is for a Jew to be in Eretz Yisrael is not a. It's not a mitzvah. It's without that there's no Jewish nation. We are Jewish nation only because of we changed. We changed very much, and the proof that we changed is in the word giur. I already spoke about that. Somebody convert in Esther, Megillas Esther. It says misyadim. That's the word. We don't use misyadim. We say giur. Where does it take it? There's no such a word in the Torah. Legayer. There's no verb of becoming Jewish. Misyadim. But giur means somebody who comes and lives in Eretz Yisrael. That's the real. You become a Jew if you live in Eretz Yisrael. Whoever decides to live in Eretz Yisrael is a ger. Then you have a toishav, as I explained already. You have a toishav, a sochir, and you have a ezrach, and you have a ger. So you have in the Torah different levels of passports that you can get permission to live in the land or not. But this is the gerus is somebody who lives in Eretz Yisrael. But since we become a religion, then we don't have a land. So what makes me Jewish is my Jewish soul. Then the Jewish soul has become the core particularism that we had, that we have a Jewish soul. And that Jewish soul we receive through Giur. And that's why Chazal say that Ma'amad Har Sinai, that a bit of a chutzpah, a little bit, if I may say so, I will regret it. But we're saying that our forefathers were not Jewish. They have a din of a Ben Noah. Chazal even talk about that. It's a tremendous, sorry to say, if I'm allowed to say, it's a bit of what's going on here? Our forefathers are not Jewish. We are more Jewish than they are. Because Ma'amad Har Sinai is seen as a giur. We were Megayah. They were Ben Noach, who were a giur. That's something which is tremendous shock for Etzem, if you think about that. It's against, of course, what Manitou is explaining, right? That because we are Jewish because of Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. The Taryag are only giving us rules on how to read the land. No, Chazal and religion, Jewish religion, sees that Ma'amad Har Sinai is a fundament. We have become Jews from Ma'amad Har Sinai, because that's called a giur. And Chazal explained this is ger shenoilat, because ger shenoilat, all lomdus before Matan Torah and after Matan Torah. The whole time we are in this game of before Matan Torah and after Matan Torah, because then we became Jews. That's against Manitou would definitely not agree to that viewpoint, but that's the viewpoint of our Chazal. So that's also a weakness in the Manitou's view. Yeah.
He's speaking about what you just said. He's speaking about the fact that when Moshe Rabeinu slapped the Egyptian, he's looking if there is no one.
Yeah.
And what the prayer he says, he's looking if there is not the Jews that come for it. Say why? Because for Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, and the Jews at that time, they were not Jews.
No.
Of course, but they were judged for the future of their children. Since the children will be Jewish, they were looked already as Jewish, even if they are not.
Yeah.
So when he was slapping the Egyptian, problem is if you kill a non-Jew, you are not.
Yeah.
You don't have a death penalty. But if you do with a Jew, you have a death penalty. So I was looking later if there will be a Jew, so this one can be already judged
judge as if it was.
So it's going in this direction.
So maybe it would be an Erev Rav. His children would be an Erev Rav. That's what you mean?
Just think in the future if there will be a Jew
coming from this Mitzri.
Yeah, from this Mitzri. Then it would be, even if it's not Jewish, and because the Jewish people are not Jewish at that time in Taryag.
Even the Jew himself is not. But but it's a bit of. Ouais, c'est exactement là. C'est vrai, c'est vrai. Il a fait de Yid, il a fait de non-juif, il a fait d'un non-juif, il a fait un potentiel juif.
Ah, pour les sionistes?
Non, avec cette histoire. Avec cette histoire. Ouais. It's a very interesting concept, but Chazal still call it a giyur. So they did not use the word nisyadim, but they still call it a giyur in order, for me personally, is to remind us that it comes from a different perspective. And this concept of conversion is I already explained you, chorus is the same thing. Chorus means excommunication. It's literally send you're not part, we take away your nationality, your passport. That's the chorus. But since there is no more, so chorus has become on the soul, the Jewish soul, which is going to be part of Habesorim. So this the whole idea that we see here. But it's a different view, completely different view than we are used to seeing. But as I explained, it's also it's against the Rambam, and it's also against the Chazal. So that's why I just wanted to point it out. It's beautiful. Whether it is true, I don't know. But what is for sure is that there is still a lot of critique that you can have from Chazal perspective. So quickly, we saw why Sefer Bereshis. Oh la la. Wow, it's more than an hour. Okay, yeah. I'm sorry.
No, I know it's more.
Yeah.
Three minutes
wow.
over.
I felt it felt like 3/4 of an hour. I really am. So we saw why Sefer Bereshis is stopped there, because it's with the Yosef and Yehuda. It's the first time we have a nation. We saw that Moshe was the best leader because he had international knowledge and could speak to leaders, and he was pan-humanistic and universal. So that's really the point. That's why he was a Midian, he was an Egyptian, he was a Jew. We explained how Herzl is linked to that, so that this is the reason probably also the Herzl had a pan-humanistic view. It was an international view which could have led to the success. We saw that there are two kinds of Bris. You have the Bris Ben Habesorim, and you have the Bris of the Torah, Taryag mitzvahs, the Luchas HaBris. And those two Brisos, Moshe understood that they were replacing the other one. And Hashem said, no, they are on top of, they are supporting the other one. When you are going to become from a family to a nation, you need those Taryag mitzvahs to keep you together. But the Bris Ben Habesorim is still the fundament of the Jewish nation. And the Bris Milah lies within that Bris Ben Habesorim. So according to that, the Milah that we're doing is still because of Bris Ben Habesorim, which is much more important than the Taryag mitzvahs, which are on top of. Puk Faket is the Rambam, which gives the Taryag mitzvahs 1,000 times more important than if it would have been only because of Avraham Avinu, because then it would only be Midivrei Nevi'im and not Midivrei Torah. And we said that there are two objectives Moshe Rabeinu receives: is to receive the Torah, but the biggest is to schlep the Jews into Eretz Yisrael. And unfortunately, he was not successful. And the reason why he was not successful, according to that, is because he misunderstood this new generation that wanted to go into Eretz Yisrael, and he understood they want to go back to Mitzrayim. Actually, no, they just wanted to go. So it's important that you speak to the people and not to hit them. And that's why the hitting, instead of speaking, which by the second Selah Hashem said to speak and not to hit, it was a vision. It was the Hashem kind of hinted him to speak, and he did not do that. And so therefore Hashem said, you are not Roy to lead this new generation. And it's going to be Yeshua, the next generation Yeshua, that will lead that. We discussed that the Bris Ben Habesorim is a family-orientated covenant, while the Bris HaTorah is a nation. It's about a nation. And this is very much into becoming from a family to a nation, so that the other nations could become family. So it's like we should become the nation of the people, of humanity, so that all the others will become families. And our main goal is, of course, is that to live in Eretz Yisrael according to that the whole mitzvah is to live in Eretz Yisrael, and that the Taryag mitzvahs are a way to keep us there. That is what Moshe Rabeinu understood. That's why it's already written in the Sefer Devorim in Kriyat Shema when we say it every day. And we saw that there is one more thing, that Avrom and Moshe have something interesting. There is Avrom, this is Avrom, and then you have Moshe ben Amrom. So just an interesting correlation. I don't like so much how he explains it, but there is clearly something in here. Moshe ben Amrom, but okay, that's with a ayin. But in any case, it's the idea that Amrom, a high nation, and Avrom is a father of multitude. So Avrom was the father of multitude, but Moshe had to bring the Amrom, had to create a nation. That was his job now, to create a nation. Maybe we take a zoiche to the Gule Shleima. When we'll know the truth, we should be able to ask Moshe Rabbeinu himself what happened exactly, and he should tell us what happened, and we should not only have to make a kind of hypothesis and nice theories, which are maybe nice, but as you said, maybe not completely à côté de la plaque, but at least that's Torah we have to learn and trying to understand. And Hashem, let's hope that we get a step closer to the truth. And we zeggen to the Gule Shleima Meiro Yomeinu Omein.
The 6,000 years, that's Kabbalistic. What are the sources?
Stop recording.